Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Thursday. Can y'all believe it's already Thursday? The Thursday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thursdays are where we focus on gratitude. So I am grateful to be here. I'm grateful that my tech is working a little bit better today. I'm not on that little bitty phone. I was just telling Brian, at least I have my iPad now, smaller than my laptop, but we're moving in the right direction, right? Progress over perfection. So we continue, despite what was going on, to show up and to hang out and just spend this precious time together talking about the things that matter to me, to Brian, and I think they matter to you because you keep showing up, and I am absolutely grateful for that. So today, when we talk about gratitude, we are still within the bubble, focused on the theme of systems, putting systems in place that will help us reach our goals, systems that are going to help us get to that point of success. So today's topic is Thankful Thursday, as we know, harnessing the power of gratitude to overcome obstacles, because we know life keeps lifing regardless of how much we have it together, how hard we work, how focused we are, how spiritual we are. None of that excludes us from having to deal with obstacles and life's difficulties. So today we'll look at, as those things are popping up, as life is lifing, what kind of things can we have within our system that will help us deal with what's happening in real time and not have it deal with us, right? We want to be the ones that remain composed, remain together. And when we lose it, because we're human, sometimes we will, if we lose that composure, we want to be aware enough of ourselves that we figure it out quickly and get back on track. So we'll be looking at systems, we'll be looking at gratitude and how it all works together to help us overcome obstacles and continue to grow and evolve and get to the life that we are designing for ourselves, the life that we desire to live. And when you hear words like design, implement, moving forward, those are action words, right? So, in order for those things to happen, the action has to be in place. It's not enough just to want it. I'm not one of those people who believes that I can just wish, dream. Even my manifestation requires some action on my part, right? I can't just make it all happen in my head. There are some people who believe that way, and more power to them. Not here to argue. I'm just saying what has worked for me over the years. And when I am actively working towards the life that I desire, when I'm actively pruning away the things that don't serve me, when I'm actively building new skills, new mindset, the things that are going to help me get to the life that I desire, right? When I'm active in my life, that's when I see more of the things that I desire coming to fruition. I see me progressing towards the life that's important to me. I also see the obstacles as they arise. So today we're going to keep looking throughout this time as what can we do when life is lifing, right? We don't want to get so overwhelmed that we can't continue to move forward towards all those goals that we've set for ourselves. But this week, we're looking beyond the goals. I believe that if we have the right systems in place, we have the right mindset, we have the right network, we have the right task and things planned out for how we're going to live our day and ultimately our life, the goals will take care of themselves. We will see those things start to happen without us having to be hyper focused on them because we're doing the right things. Again, back to that action. What are you actually doing? When you can answer that question and the doing is moving you towards the things that you desire, you're going to get there, right? Action is necessary. I see my sister Leisha is with us this morning. Hello, 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 Kelly. Always good to see you. Welcome back. I hope you are joining us in good health and in good spirits. That is exactly how I'm feeling. There's my wonderful Conchita says thankful Thursday to everyone. It's another amazing day. It absolutely is. And I woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready for the day and what it brings. the good, the bad, the ugly, right? What we don't necessarily control what's happening around us. We don't, but we absolutely can control how we respond to it. And the more responsive we are versus reactionary, the smoother our lives go and the better we feel about how we traverse it, how we get through the day is almost as important as the things that we actually do. That mindset, how you're feeling, because sometimes all that stuff that's going on around you is chaos. It's a little crazy. It's a lot. But when that mindset is tight and right, when you've been focused and working on the internal you, you meet those things with so much grace, and you just can purpose in your heart that those things are not going to beat you, that you are capable, you are able to move through whatever pops up. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to just move through. We have to move through because sometimes what pops up is not something that we want, not what we were looking for, not what we were expecting. And those things, those uncertainties, those life surprises can really kick us back. They can really stop us in our tracks. But we want it to be a pause, not a stop sign, right? It's a comma, not a period. It's not the end of the story. We don't want to get stuck in those uncomfortable places. So we want to have systems in place that are going to help us continue to move forward regardless of what's going on externally. Conchita says, focus on making peace our priority always makes for an amazing day. Man, and it helps you so much in your making. We talked about the last couple of days the story I had read in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, right? And the story of the lady who wanted to lose the weight, and she started to see herself as a healthy person. So every time she got ready to make a decision, she would ask herself, what would a healthy person do? And then she would do that. So if peace is your priority and life starts to life and the chaos starts to come and the conflicts start to show up and you say, what would a peaceful person do? It gets real clear as to what action you should take or if you should take an action at all. If you are committed to peace, if you are determined that your environment will be one of peace, if you are committed to being the light in any situation, you're going to bring the light, you're going to bring the peace, you're going to set the tone, right? Right? You're going to set the energy. You're not going to meet someone else's energy. If the world is better because you're showing up in it and you're committed to that, you can ask yourself, what would a peaceful person do? And then you see, am I going to lock in and have this argument, or am I going to, in peace, walk away? Right? So, what would a peaceful person do? If peace is your priority, tuck that question in your mind. Just tuck it away and allow it to show up for you when chaos happens, when life is lifing and the obstacles are showing up. Just ask yourself that simple question: what would a peaceful person do? And then do that, and you will continue to elevate. You will continue to raise the energy in that space, and you won't allow the energy to drag you down to whatever is going on around you. Good morning, Duck. It's so good to see you, my cousin. Always happy when you are with us. So today, just for those who recently Barbara, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm glad you're able to be with us in real time. Barbara and I grew up together in a small town northeast of Dallas called Farmersville, and every time she listens to the videos, her comment is typically the same: good morning, beautiful. So I want to give that right back to you, Barbara. Good, and she just said it. Good morning, beautiful. I'm glad that you are here. I love it when I have my past, my present, and my future all in one space. My life used to be really, really segmented. I had the people who knew me as I was. I had the people who I was experiencing life right now with. And then, there's always folks that are coming. So the future unfolds whether we're ready for it or not. But man, life is so rich when you are living it in a way where it can all come together. It's great to see my sister here. She's known me her whole life because I'm older. Barbara is maybe a couple of years older than me, but we grew up in the same space. Conchita and Brian, those are new friends. Sabrina just joined and said good morning. That's one of my babies. Her mom is one of the folks that I grew up with, and we were besties all through high school, and I just love her dearly. So her kids have a special place in my heart. And there's Sonia. Sonia became family over the years as I've been here in the Austin area. So a good rich mixture of the different periods in my life I see popping in. And I'm really grateful for each one of you, because each period of my life that I see represented all had its gifts. It all contributed to me being who I am now. And it'll continue to contribute to who I evolve and become. So that's the beauty of embracing your entire life, right? I used to look back on my past and where I came from, and there was a lot of angst, there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of frustration. There were things that I said I'd never do, people I said I'd never interact with, just because I was still living in that hurt and the things that had happened in the past. Some that people were aware of, a lot that people may never know. But it left, there were scars, and I was leading with those scars instead of allowing them to heal. Healing is such a beautiful thing, guys. Wherever your hurt is, there's also healing in that space. And when you can go back and look at your life and the places that were the most difficult, you can ask yourself, what did I learn from that? How did that contribute to who I am today? How did it help me grow and evolve? Maybe the situation was so bad that I wouldn't write it into my life if I had the pen, if I was controlling those circumstances. But despite it, I can see I'm more compassionate. I'm more loving. I'm more sensitive. I'm able to see when people are going through X because I went through X. There's something positive that came out of even your deepest, darkest hurt. And when you start to allow yourself to experience that positive, what happens is that scar, it's like a salve. That scar starts to heal. It doesn't mean the memories go away, but you don't have all those negative emotions that continue to affect you today. There's not much. There's still some stuff I have to clean up. I don't, we're always a work in progress. So there's still stuff, even from my history, that I have to clean up. I have to continue to confront and have good conversations, ships, and things like that. But there are very few things, only really one that comes to mind from my history that still is difficult in my present. So if you're dragging a lot of stuff from the past with you, be willing to do the work. Recognize that that's happening and find the gratitude in the experiences from the past so that you can let the negativity of it go, maintain the lessons from it, and use those lessons to better inform your today. They'll help you make better decisions. They will help you rise and become a better person. And when you think back on those things, it won't be so painful. We don't want to keep re injuring ourselves day in and day out with stuff that's long gone. A lot of times we remember all the details, and the person that we have associated with that hurt doesn't even remember. They've moved on and gone on with their life. They don't even know that you're still carrying that scar around. You're mad at them. You're never going to have anything to do with them again. And the only person that's hurting is you. The only person that's really hurting in those situations is you. And your every step is difficult. It's like walking in quicksand because you're dragging all of that stuff. Some of the people aren't even still alive, and we're dragging. I remember when this person did this and said that, and that hurt me so deeply. I understand. I really do. But if you're still carrying that hurt today, you've got to ask yourself, why? Why am I muddying up my today with the rains and the storms from yesterday, right? The ground dried. The sun came back out, but you're not able to experience it because you keep bringing that storm and re-inviting that storm into your life. If that resonates with you, encourage you to pray right now and ask God to lift that burden from you. Ask Him to show you what your gift is from that situation, right? But to relieve you of the pain, relieve you of the angst. And it's going to start with some forgiveness. First, with your reflection. Forgive yourself, right? Forgive yourself. Tell yourself how valuable you are, how loved you are, and let that stuff go. Doesn't mean what happened was right, doesn't mean that you agree with it, but what it does mean is that you no longer will allow it to mess with your today. You were hurt enough back then. You were hurt enough back then. Don't allow it to continue to hurt you today. You may never get the apology. You may never get the acknowledgement that it actually happened. You may not even be able to get it because the person's no longer here. So you have to decide for you. Forgiveness is for you. It is that salve, that balm, that healing agent that will take the hurt from the past and turn it into the lessons of your today. And you will make better decisions. You will move lighter. Those burdens will be gone. So ask God, what can you be grateful for from those darkest moments, right? A lot of us have lived a lot of loss. You know, my biggest loss was my grandmother. And I told you guys, I lived a numb life for many years after that, just going through the motions. But I'm so grateful that she sacrificed those latter years to raise me and my sister, right? I'm grateful that I never came home to an empty house because she was always there. I'm grateful that she was pouring and praying over us and teaching us from the Bible. And then I'm grateful on that last day that she wasn't in pain anymore. She had been in excruciating pain for a long time. And as much as I selfishly wanted to keep her with me, she was my foundation as a kid. Yeah, I wanted to keep her with me. I was 17. I wasn't ready for a life without my anchor, but that was how my life unfolded. And that was a pivotal moment. There's life before and there's life after that moment. We have those pivotal moments in our lives that absolutely change the direction of our lives, changes how we feel, changes so much of who we are. The loss of my grandmother was that pivotal moment in my young life. But I can look back on it, I can still see her face when we had the opportunity to see her for the first time right before the funeral. And instantly God gave me some peace. She had a little bit of a curve, a little bit of a smile on her face. And we had not seen that for quite some time because she had been in so much pain. And then she was on life support. So all the stuff was all around her. So to see that smile, even my 17-year-old immature self who was grieving bigger than I knew what grief was given instant relief in that moment. Did I still mourn for years because I didn't know how to process all of that. But I can look back on it 100% with gratitude now. Grateful for everything that she did and grateful that she didn't have to continue to suffer like that. So even those darkest moments, we can find something that moment taught us that we can lean into gratitude and allow it to help us to continue to move forward. We get stuck. Wouldn't it be great if we got stuck emotionally in our best day? We don't do that. We have a tendency to get stuck emotionally in those most difficult times. Imagine getting stuck in your best day. And that's how you see yourself. That's how you see the world. And that's where you're moving from that place of joy, right? That would be wonderful. But as humans, we have a tendency to really shine the light on the difficult times. If your light is shining there, just look around, pick it up, turn it around, pick it apart. Do what you need to do until you find at least one gift in that portion of your life, one thing to be grateful for. And then you will start over time to see those periods of your life differently. It won't be all anger and angst and bad times. I early in my life, because that's where all my life happened. all my bad things had happened there, back at home. So associated, everything that was bad was associated with where I came from. Well, all the good things happened there too. All of them. All of them. That's where I was loved. That's where I was reared. That's where I was taught so many things. And all of that was so far in the back of my brain because I was overcome by those difficulties that I had put everything else away as if those things didn't happen. Lots of love and support and things came my way, right? But I couldn't see them. I couldn't feel them. I could no longer hear those voices because I'd allowed myself to be overwhelmed by the negative things. But when you realize that, then you can have a conversation with yourself. Then you can start to talk through it and see the good also, right? If I fail, there was also somebody who helped me get up. There was also somebody who bandaged up the legs, right? But I only was focused on the fact that I failed. So even in our most difficult situations, we can find something to be grateful for. I am extremely grateful that God took her when he did, because at that moment, she no longer suffered. Now, I was in a life at that point to where I was walking around like I had no skin, I had no protection, I had no foundation. That's the mind of a 17-year-old. But somebody fed me, somebody housed me, somebody helped me every step of the way. I just wasn't focused on those things. I was hyper focused on the loss, hyper focused on the anger, hyper focused on things that had gone wrong, and it was eating me from the inside out. A lot of our illnesses is because of where we're focused and what we're giving our minds over to. That stress kills, right? So when you where those places, find those places where you see nothing but bad and look at it a little bit differently. Shine a little light on it and go, God, what did you teach me in that moment? How did those dark times help me become who I am today? Maybe I'm a better mom because of something I didn't get. Maybe I'm a better partner because of things that I didn't see, right? We learn as much what not to do as we learn what to do from our experiences. So either way, we're learning and we can be grateful for that. And we take the lessons forward, leave the pain behind. And when I tell you, y'all, I can't see y'all. I can only see me in this moment. Just the way the system is set up. So I'm seeing myself and I'm talking to me, and prayerfully it resonates with someone else. But I have to tell myself on a regular basis, leave the pain behind, grab the lesson, bring that lesson up close and personal, and use it in your everyday. If a situation has taught you something, it has somehow made you better, wiser, stronger, there's something to be grateful for in that situation. We turn that thing over on its head and we show up with gratitude, with a grateful heart, and God will take that and he will expand that and he will show you more and more and more of what to be grateful for. As he takes you from season to season, lesson to lesson, he will expand your territory. He will give you more than you ever believed that you could have or deserved. But you've got to get out of the muck and the mire. You've got to let go of all those negative feelings and allow the light. Allow yourself to step into the light. Quit bringing the storms from yesterday into today and blotting out your sunshine. Because the sun is shining, right? It's shining. Somewhere it's shining. Whether we decide to walk in and experience that sun is one of the decisions that we have to make every day. And it's not an easy decision if you've had a lot of trauma in your life. It's not easy. You don't even want to trust the sun because you believe the closer you get to it, the better it feels, the more you relax. Now you're vulnerable, and here comes all the stuff. Here comes the rain. Here, you're always waiting for the other foot to drop. You're waiting for that bad thing to happen. No, bask in the sun. Be grateful for those moments. Is bad stuff going to happen? We're still here. It will. but you're better prepared for it. You're more capable of moving through it, but you have to see yourself that way. Who do you say you are? The voice within wins. God gave me that, and I know He gave it to me because He knows how powerful what we think about ourselves is. If you see yourself as a loser, if you see yourself as unable to get things done, that's how you're going to move through the world. So guess what? The opposite is true. If you see yourself as capable, if you see yourself as deserving, if you see yourself as a person of character, I can't even say that without sitting up a little bit taller. If you see yourself that way, your actions will follow. That's why that story of the lady who said she sees herself as a healthy person. So every time she got ready to make a food decision or an activity decision, she asked herself, what would a healthy person do? And that's how she built her life, by modeling the behavior of a healthy person. And before you know it, she was just that. But she became a healthy person in her mind well before her body caught up. But our minds are that powerful. You see yourself as a person of peace. See yourself as a person who is compassionate. See yourself as a person who's capable. You fill in the blanks. Who are you? Who do you need to be? Who are you striving to be? And you give yourself that title and you speak that over your life day in and day out. And then you have to take it one step farther. You have to do the things that that person would do. If peace is my goal, my activities must be activities that generate peace. If love is my goal, my activities have to be activities that share love, both for me and for others, right? So, who are you? Get real clear about that. What's your title? What is your title? And then you wear it well. You step underneath that title and you let it drive your activities. That was a whole Barbara, look what you did. Look what you did, Barbara. That none of that was intended for today. We're supposed to be talking about gratitude and putting a system in place so that you are able to meet your goals. But one of my goals, my ultimate goal, is to be pleasing to God. My ultimate goal is that the words that come out of my mouth are pleasing to Him and that they're not my thoughts, but they are His. That's my prayer every day. I had already said it, Brian. I had already prayed this morning when you came on right before we got started. And I asked Him, get me out of the way. I'm so flawed. I'm so full of it. I will never, ever be good enough on my own to have a conversation with anybody. But when I ask Him to fill me with His Spirit, when I ask Him to fill this entire virtual space with His Spirit, His love, what He wants for each one of you, my prayer is that even though a particular sentence comes out of my mouth, each one of you hear it differently and process it in the way that it's meaningful for you. I can't do that, right? But God, in His divine wisdom, can give me those words and give you the ears so that it lines up just the way He needs it to line up for you for whatever is your next assignment, whatever you're going off into today. That's the prayer. So we went in a completely different direction just because I saw Barbara's name. it just, I don't know, some different thoughts came up and away we went. And I'm grateful for that. And I see a few of you guys have joined. Hello, Cynthia. Conchita says, every experience in life provides an opportunity for a lesson and a blessing. How we embrace it just depends on our mindset. Absolutely. Absolutely. And y'all know how I feel about mindset. I posted a short video, just a snippet, last night before I went to bed. You guys will see it. I think it's on all the socials of us taxiing on the runway on I think that was Wednesday when we were supposed to leave, and we actually didn't leave New York until Sunday. But we sat on that tarmac. We taxied a little bit. You could see out my window all the planes lined up, not even moving because we were getting more and more grounded. They were calling people back. And it reminded me of pace. As much as I wanted that plane to take off and bring me back to Texas, all it could do was barely roll forward and then it'd have to stop. Barely roll forward and then it would have to stop. And I was looking at the tarmac becoming a parking lot for planes, and it was becoming more and more obvious that we weren't going anywhere. It wasn't time. It wasn't time. That in that situation, we were all being paced. We were being forced to slow down. Our mindset was being checked, and it was an opportunity. It was an obstacle, but in every obstacle there's an opportunity. I got to see my own personal growth. I wasn't mad at anybody. I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't frustrated. I was just going through the experience that was happening in front of me and making the most of it. On my way back, finally Sunday, it's about 10 p.m. and we were supposed to leave about an hour before. We're on the plane. This young man gets on, and I love a window seat, but you just had to take what you could get, right? So the window seat was empty. I was in the middle. Tim was in the aisle, and this young man comes and takes the window seat that was assigned to him, and he's just super friendly. And usually that's Tim talking everybody's head off, but for whatever reason, he was kind of quiet and in his own space. I think he was about to drift off to sleep, and this young man is just talking to me, just talking, and we're having a good time. And somehow we start talking about the book. I show him Soar, and he tells me that he's a public speaker, and that he used to play football in college, and now he goes and he speaks to schools and speaks with the kids, and he has some sort of a ministry that has to do with stopping trafficking. So powerful young man, because he was quite young, and he's just talking. And I looked at him and I said, now it all makes sense. Now I know why I didn't leave on Wednesday. I left today because I'm supposed to meet you. We're supposed to be sitting here right now having this conversation. We follow each other now on social. He was telling me about a group in Austin, and other. He asked me if I knew the author of a particular book, and I knew that author well because that book was one of the books that I kept seeing as I was watching my book back in March. When my book released, that book was hot. It was getting lots of accolades and was bestseller, and it was right. If you saw mine, that one came up as well. It's called The Energy Bus. And he was asking me if I was aware. And that's how I said, oh, I'm absolutely aware. And I was telling him why. He goes, oh, you're an author too? And he pulled it up. I'm going to get this book. I love to read this kind of stuff. And he said, well, I know the author. And he has this group that he started. And he brings people together and he shares all of these public speaking opportunities because he can't do it all. And some of them don't really fall within his purview. So he has this group. We do meetups and get to know each other. Sometimes we do things together, but they're always bringing in opportunities for people to speak. Guys, that's the frontier. That's what I'm getting more and more going in this portion of my life. The more I get to speak, the happier I am, right? And so I was like, this is why the delay happened for me. I don't know why it happened for everybody else on the plane, but for me, I was supposed to meet this young man. I talked to him a couple of days ago just to check in because he's supposed to send me the information so I could get involved in this group. Somebody that I wouldn't have known and wouldn't have known me had I left on Wednesday. So in all of that, there was so much to be grateful for. Couldn't get home for 3 or 4 days later than I had intended, but my hotel was covered by my job, right? Got to see a little bit more of New York than I would have, because usually what happens is I work all day wherever we go. And while I'm working, my husband gets to sightsee because he's really on vacation. And then we come back, I come home from work, come back to the hotel. I'm really tired, but I feel a little obligated to do something because he's come all that way. And I want us to be able to do some stuff together. So it's a little stressful. This time I had way more time, and we were able to do some fun stuff that we may not have done because either I was tired or I was at work. But we got to have some experiences. So it's how you look at a thing that determines what you're going to get from that said thing. So ask yourself, am I looking at this with my growth mindset, my positive, my gratitude laced glasses on? Or am I all lost in my human emotion and frustration, and I'm allowing this situation to control me? I was in absolute control. I said it out loud. I'm not going to be beaten by this situation. I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be angry, short with people. Those folks were stuck on the plane just like I was. Even the people who worked there, they were stuck just like I was. So why would I take it out on them? All depends on how you think about it. Kim says, I swear you always know. It's that connection. My eyes were filled up, and then you just said, get stuck in our best day. That turned my frown upside down quickly. I started laughing. That makes my day, Kim. I'm so glad to hear that. I am so glad to hear that. Hey, Deborah. Hey, AD. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Jessica. Glad to see you here. My Aunt Deborah said, Amen. Professor Roxana says, good morning, beautiful one. Right back to you. And Deborah said, my God. And I think that was back when I was kind of talking about pulling the best out of our situations. Conchita says, you are so correct, Cassandra. God inhabits the praise of his people. Preach, Cassandra. Amen. He really does. He really does. And it is easy to be all praised up when everything's going your way. But how are you? How are you when life starts lifing? Oh, Kim, thank you. Kim says you are truly remarkable, and she says love that, Conchita. And Conchita said, great post. That taxi and airplane video has such a powerful message. You drove the point home perfectly regarding the pace period. We have to be paced. When we are stressed, we go back to our default behaviors. It's a human response. We go back to what's comfortable, what's automatic, what's in us, right? So when you take on a new way of thinking, a new way of showing up, a new way of being, you need time to keep practicing that. You need time to really integrate that into your life so that it becomes your new default, right? Gratitude is part of my default. When I wake up in the morning, I just start to think, oh God, what am I grateful for today? What am I grateful for? I'm not even fully conscious yet, but I've done it for so long that it's a part of my default. It certainly showed up for me when we were on that plane. So that pace period is important. It allows you to truly replace the things that got you into whatever you're into with a new behavior that's taking you forward as you transform and you keep elevating who you are and how you show up in the world. You need time. You need time for those new behaviors, those new thoughts to really stick and to really take root and grow within who you are. And then that becomes your new default and you're ready to go. You're ready to go. Kim says, I got the chills all over again when you said that about the young man you met. Amazing, truly amazing. Absolutely. We can see the gift in any situation. And Connor was a gift. He really was. He became the why that I could see in that situation. I could have just looked at it and thought about all the things that I didn't get to do. I was supposed to go to a conference that weekend. I missed my cousin's 10-year anniversary party. Big deal that the family was all getting together for. And I missed my dad's birthday. All of those things were planned into my weekend. I was supposed to be back on Wednesday, and then me and my husband were going to get up Thursday. I was taking Thursday and Friday off. We were driving to Dallas. I was doing all of those things. God had a different plan for how things were supposed to unfold for me. And I truly believe that Connor was a part of that plan. We'll see how it all unfolds. It's not mine to drive, but I can definitely temper my frustrations and my negativity and all of that by allowing myself to see the gifting and what's going on around me. It's a choice. It is an absolute choice. All right. I haven't even given you guys the quote yet. and we've been at it for almost 40 minutes. So let me speed this train along. Gratitude makes sense of our past, right? Talked about my grandmother and how that loss became a point of gratefulness in my life today. It makes sense to me now. I didn't want her to suffer forever. So it makes sense of your past. It brings peace for today. I'm not in that heavy mourning that I went around in for years. I wasn't able to cry. I had a hard time forming real connection. I lived in fear of people leaving, either physically leaving because they died or leaving because they just didn't want to be around me anymore. And it created some really crazy behaviors in me trying to hang on. But today, if I don't have anything else, I have peace and I have joy. Those sisters are hanging out with me no matter what. Even as I continue to clean up my present, even as I see areas of my life where I've got to do some things differently, conversations that need to be had so that that peace can continue to grow. But it's there anyway, and it creates a vision for tomorrow. Gratitude helps you see the possibilities, how your life can unfold, how you can live, the joy, the possibilities in your life. Gratitude is so powerful. It makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and it creates a vision for tomorrow. So I encourage you to grab hold of gratitude, right? There are some common obstacles that we all face, different degrees for different people. Some may, you may not face them all, but we were supposed to be talking about, I'm trying to get back on track, Brian. We're supposed to be talking about how bringing gratitude and having an open heart as we build our systems can help us to continue to move forward and to continue to strive and reach the goals that we have for ourselves. So, what are some of the common obstacles as humans that we face on a fairly regular basis that having a system in place can help us to move past? One of the ones is procrastination. Usually underneath procrastination, there's fear, or there's something that's keeping you from just doing what it is that you need to do. If you've got a system in place, though, if you've got something, if you've given yourself a timeline and you've got something that reminds you and that's going to poke you until you get that thing done, building that into your system can help you keep moving forward. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, I've got some timers on my phone goes off a couple times a day and it says it's time to pray. Even before I start to pray, just seeing that lightens my mood, helps my mindset, and reminds me that life is so much bigger than me. And I've got someone that's looking over me and I'm connected to something that's greater. So, whatever it is that you have a hard time getting done, there's some angst, there's some fear, there's some disbelief that you can do it, whatever it is that's causing that procrastination, what can you put in place that's going to help you? Do you need an accountability partner? Do you need somebody like Tim that says, let's get up and go to the gym? Your neck will feel better if you get moving. Whatever is causing that procrastination, put some stuff in place that's going to keep it in right in front of you until you get it done. Self-limiting beliefs are a huge, huge common obstacle. I don't believe I can. I don't believe that I deserve it. Whatever. People who look like me never get this done. I failed so many times. There's nothing that's going to make me believe that I can be successful. We have all these messages just playing in our heads. But if you do the work, if you understand that the voice within wins, you can do the work and get that belief out of you once and for all. Maybe you have a lack of motivation, right? So what do you need to do? Is there some music that you can play? Is there a podcast that you can listen to? Is there a network that you can plug yourself into that helps you to get going and to be and maintain some motivation so that you can get some stuff done? And then there's the ultimate lifing. Life lifes and throws obstacles at us all the time. But we have to have some systems in place to help us to keep moving forward even when things unfold differently. How do I get back in the game when I've fouled out, right? Who's going to tag me back in? Do I need an encouraging word so that I believe that I can get back and get going again? What do you need? Whatever it a part of your system? Can you reach out and touch that? Can you reach out and have that conversation? Do you have the system in place to help you overcome these common obstacles? Because if you do, your system acts like a shield, right? It starts by making sure that you're prepared. You know that life's going to life at times. You also know the things that you are trying to get done. So you've put preparation in place. You begin your day by planning the things that you intend to accomplish that day. So you're prepared. You're prepared. You're prepared. You're prepared. And when you're prepared, you keep moving. Rehearsal, you never see people go play a game without practice, not if they're serious about it. So how are you practicing to win at this life that you've been blessed with? What does your practice look like? Right? Does your practice include prayer? Does your practice include meditation? Does your practice include your to-do list? Right? Does it include that good music? Does it include, what do you need to be prepared for the life that you're building? Make sure that that's in your system. That system also, that shield from your system helps you with your resilience because you're able to keep going. When you stumble, you have the system in place. What's the hand that you need to reach out to you to pull you up when you fall? What do you need? Maybe you need to open your Bible and read, and that hand of God reaches out and grabs you and pulls you back up. Maybe your sister is your bestie and you just need to talk to her and get that encouragement so you can get going again, right? Maybe you need to spend some time looking at your accomplishments to remind yourself of what it is that you're capable of. There's plenty in your life that shows that you're resilient, right? But you have to tap into that instead of being so focused on how many times you fail. You can also see that with each fall, you got back up. That's resilience. But you've got to change your focus to the getting up versus being so overwhelmed by the fact that you failed in the first place. That shield helps you with consistency. When you have a system in place, you're taking small, actionable steps on a regular basis to move you towards your goals, to get you to where it is that you want to be. And as long as you're doing that, you're progressing. And your system will help you to keep moving forward. It's smart to have contingency plans. I laughed about how frustrating tech can be, is a good example, right? My laptop is right over my shoulder. It's just a big old pretty green paperweight right now because it just will not work. Luckily, it has started acting up, so I backed it up. So I just need to take the time this weekend, go get me another laptop and load all my stuff onto the new one. But in the meantime, even it just crapped out while I was traveling. I couldn't get it to boot up on Friday when I wanted to go live with you guys, and I couldn't get my tablet to connect to the system that I need. So I was forced to use my phone. Now, was I forced to use my phone, or was I blessed that my phone had the software and everything that despite the fact that the other tech wasn't working, I still had an option? I had three options. I've got the laptop, I have the iPad that I'm talking to you guys on right now, and when all else fails, I can do it from my phone. It's not as easy. The screen's small, the eyes are getting old. Not as easy, but it's possible. Contingency. When one thing doesn't work, what's your plan B? What's next? Do you have one? Have you thought about it? Having contingency plans help you, and that should be a part of your system. It's just like having a flashlight and candles and things like that in your house, because at times we know the electricity goes out. Doesn't mean we didn't pay the bill. Maybe a storm came through. When that electricity doesn't go, then I have flashlights that I can crank. I have flashlights that I can put out in the sun and get solar energy. So I don't even have to depend just on batteries. Contingency. What can I do when my go-to doesn't work? Right? Answering those questions for yourself really, really helps you move forward when things are not going as planned. And you want to lean into your resilience and you want to remain flexible. right? In that flexibility, you're open to the unexpected, the unknown, the things that are just going to crop up, lifing. And you go, okay, this isn't going to work the way I intended. So, what am I going to do? How do I make the best out of this situation? How do I keep showing up for myself? How do I keep showing up for my family? How do I lean into gratitude and honor a God who still allows me to be here and have as much as I have despite all the things that are going on in the world? Am I focused on my abundance or am I hyper focused on what I don't have in this moment? You got a choice, but you can't focus on both. One will take you down one path, the other will take you down another. But understand that you are always standing at a crossroads. See yourself standing at that crossroad. You can veer to your left, you can veer to your right. What does that mean? It means that you have a decision to make. It means that you're making decisions all day long, every day. Most of them without thinking. Most of them, they're subconscious. We're in autopilot. But when we step back and realize that those decisions take us down a path, then we need to wake up and be a little bit more conscious and make a real decision so that you're moving your life in a particular direction. And when things in that direction blow up, flexibility, resilience, they're your friend and they'll help you move forward. So you have to build them into your system. My system says, here's the structure, here's how I want to live my life. But when things go wacky, because they do, when things go haywire and life gets a little chaotic, here's other options that will still maintain my integrity, that will still keep me moving towards the goals that I have for myself. It may look a little bit different. It may be a little bit more manual. Maybe I'm turning the crank to get the light that I need instead of being able to just flip the switch, right? Maybe I'm on this little phone instead of my laptop, but I'm resilient. I'm still here. I'm flexible. I'm figuring out other ways to get it done. All right, Brian, I'm getting wordier and wordier as the week goes on, and I appreciate your patience. I do have a few steps at the end, but I want to bring you into the conversation because it's been I've been going on for quite a while. So please unmute and tap in and share whatever you would like to with the group. Angie says life is life. And hey, Angie, I just talked about you a little while ago. I'm glad you're here. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm just laughing at you. You remind me of a couple of guys that used to work with me when I was so I had a detail shop a long time ago, and they used to always say because they were under the impression other things were going on besides the detail shop, and they used to always say, "Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach." I'm sitting up here saying you the whole time, "Put me in, coach. Put me in." It's okay. I'm gonna warm your food in a minute. Let me finish this crop, okay? Give me 2 minutes. Cause I'm not really all that long winded on improv. Not as well versed as you are. But man, you are really preaching this morning about gratitude and reframing and taxing and pacing. All of it's on point, and it just it's bringing up so many emotions and so many thoughts and so many experiences in life where God has literally just shown me, hey, you don't know my heart. Everything that you experience is something to be grateful for. You after my heart, but you don't know it. Everything that we experience is something that we should be grateful for because we don't know what God really intended for it. So whatever it is, loss or benefit, I don't particularly see things as a loss or gain. I just see it as transformation. Everything is just a thing. I don't believe God sees it as a loss or as a gain. He just sees it as what is happening, what his will is. And my dad used to talk about it. All you want to do in life is let his will be done. So if that's what you're doing, then you can't see it as a loss or gain. There's a quote from Ring Rames, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get it wrong. But in essence, what it said is that if I am after God's heart, everything that happens to me is for my good. Now I got it wrong. I chopped it up, but that's basically what it said. people, I've come in contact with people from all across the world my whole life. I've been really blessed to be some places, meet some people, get to know some things. And one thing that has always stood out as far as the way people have perceived me is that they see my response to life and they just automatically assume everything is going my way. I've heard that said so many times. Things are always going your way. And it's not that they're always going my way per se. I just know that I don't know the way. I don't know which way I'm going. I'm looking for direction on a daily basis. I'm asking, I'm thinking, I'm searching for that way. But during that search, during my travels, during that journey, everything that happens is a blessing. I look at everything from a lens of gratitude, whatever it is. And when I'm able to do that, then the things that happen that I feel may be a hindrance or what other people may feel as a loss, I just don't see it that way. I see it as a blessing. I see it as something to be thankful for because again, I don't know what God has in store for me. I don't know what he wants. You know, I know he wants me to do what he wants me to do, but I don't know what that is. That's why I'm always saying thank you. That's why I'm always asking for guidance. We as You okay, sweetheart? You sure? Your juice is right here on the desk. So kind of lost my train of thought. My baby get to feeling bad. I get to feeling bad. I'm gonna get it back. Give me 2 seconds. So yesterday, Bree was feeling really, really bad. All of a sudden, like the day before, 2 hours before, she was feeling great. And then all of a sudden she was feeling bad. And you know, if you know me, you know when my kids are down, I'm down. I'm like, I'm wanting to cry. You know, guests of the government aside, I want to just break out in tears when they experiencing any kind of pain. And we were going to the store to get some meds, and she was like, "Nah, Dad, I don't feel like it." I was like, "Man, what are we gonna do? Got to get you some meds. We need to get a few other things. It's getting late. I really don't want to take you out in the rain. Definitely don't want to take you out in the dark. Dad's getting older. I don't see so well anymore. We don't want to go out at night." So I started thinking. I said, well, you know, maybe we can buy it and then we'll just pick it up. And then something else hit me. Hey man, why don't you just order it and have it delivered? So when I had it delivered, the guy that brought it over, he was like, "This never happens. Everything that you had listed, I was able to find it." I was like, wow, that's awesome, man. So my main thing in everything that I ordered was getting Bree's meds. And I had to sign for it because they're meds. You can't just get them. So the guy came over expediently, dropped the stuff off. I woke her up, gave her meds. She was asleep for 2, 3 hours. She got up. She said, "Dad, guess what? My throat is not hurting." And she was rambling. You know, once she gets to talking, she's feeling better. And if it doesn't stop, she's feeling great, right? So she was feeling a lot better. She started talking. And I thought to myself while I was making her some, I think I was making her some pasta or something, cheese dip. I don't know, whatever it was. I was in the kitchen and I was pouring the juice, and something just came over me and said, "Thank you, God." And in that moment, I realized how much I had to be thankful for, not just her feeling better. I just started looking around and just being thankful for everything, right? The good, the bad, and there's a lot of bad going on all the time. We might not want to admit it, but each one of us is going through a traumatic experience every single day. Don't know what it is. I don't care. It's not my concern. My concern is what I'm going through, right? Your concern should be what you're going through. But what we should rest on, what we should lean into, is that God has our best interest in mind. And if that's the case, everything is good. Everything is transformation, not loss, right? You got growth, decay, and transformation. That's all life is. It's not loss. When you see it from that perspective, everything changes. Everything becomes something to be grateful for. And I was the worst at it when I was younger. I talk like I was, if you listen to the way I talk now, you like this guy think he a shaman or something. He just think he got it all figured out. Nah, I just had a whole bunch of wrecks, a whole bunch of mishaps, a whole bunch of detours, right? And over time, I've learned to just be grateful. When you're grateful, what happens is the things that you need for the things you are destined to do, you were ordained to do, you'll get that, right? So you'll see it in a different kind of way. That's why you have to be very, very, very picky about what you think about what you let come out of your mouth, right? If you want opulence, if you want prosperity, if you want wealth, you have to give off that energy first, right? If you're telling God, "Oh, I'm mad about this," how do you know that that wasn't a setup for a blessing? While you talking about what you're mad about, what you can't realize that you lost. Oh, I can't believe you took this from me. But you don't know why that was the case. You don't know why that was quote unquote lost to you. You were transforming. You talk about that all the time. I'm not gonna get into some whole big Cassandra Terry rant here, but you do. When we see things, we see it from the lens that we were taught from this humanly perspective. It's human perspective. But we are spiritual beings. So we have to reframe the way we see things, right? When people talk about soaring, the first thing comes into their mind is taking off, going as high as they can. That's not how I see soaring. The way I see soaring is flying above all of the nonsense. Just soaring. I'm just above the nonsense, man. That's all it is, right? But in order to get there, you got to pace yourself so that you can reach that level of elevation. You got to prepare for the pace. I did it. I did it. Cassandra Terry rant. I did it. There's nothing you can do about it. All I'm saying is perspective, right? When you are grateful, you get more things to be grateful for. When you complaining, you're gonna get more things to complain about. That's my time today. Thank you, Cassandra.
Time well spent. Thank you, Brian. Kim says, love it, Brian. True that. Today was all about me. Both of you nailed it. Thank you. God nailed it. God nailed it, Kim, because my prayer was that he showed up and that you, everybody within the sound of my voice right now, and people who hear it in the future, that you get what you need to keep moving forward on your personal journey. I don't ever want this to just be about concepts and what I think and what Brian thinks, and man, we got some real cute words to share or something that's gonna grab you and make you think, oh, they're so smart, oh, they're so with it. It's not about us, it's not about any of that. It's about me growing and developing and then just kind of doing it publicly, because I'm telling y'all, today was just as much for me. There's spots in my life. The grand scheme of things is peaceful and loving and it's working well. And then there's those spots where I need to clean up some stuff. I need to have some hard conversations. I need to give myself and others the opportunity to come together and have good relationship without the gunk of the past. Get all that stuff out of the way. I'm telling y'all, I'm talking to myself just as much, if not more, than I'm talking to anybody at any point in time. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm much more peaceful now, because when you know your value, when you have a clear picture of who you are, those areas that are not quite there yet, there's no shame. You don't have to hide from them. You don't have to pretend like you've got it all together. You have all the answers. No, I don't know even all the questions. So I definitely am far from having all the answers. But what God gave me was an ability to sit up and talk about my gunk and still have a smile on my face and in my heart. The smile on my face matches the one in my heart. It's not fake. Everything that I've been through has resulted still in a person that's joyful and has peace, even though I can see some areas of my life where there's still work to be done. That doesn't take away my joy or my peace. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself. It doesn't make me feel like a failure. It doesn't make me feel like a fraud. That's what held me back before, because there were areas that I didn't have together. It was very difficult for me to have conversations like this. How can I tell anybody anything when I'm broken in this space? Because everybody's broken somewhere, but somebody has to talk about the brokenness. Somebody has to be willing to say, this is where how I fell and bumped my head, and this is what helped me clear up that bruise. That's what God gave me. That's what he gave me. I've always had the ability to talk about my stuff to a certain extent, but there used to be a angst about it, a pain in the stomach, a little bit of shame, those types of things. That's gone. So the people who've tried to use any of that against me, they wasting their time. They're wasting their time. And I tell you, they're out there. There are people who should be close to me who would like to see me fall. And it breaks my heart to a certain, it used to really break my heart, but now it breaks my heart for them. Because if you're in such a bad place that your desire is for someone else to have something bad happen to them, that doesn't speak to the other person. It speaks to you. It's in your heart, the condition of your heart. And my heart is a work in progress. In some places, the blood is shining bright and red and everything's flowing through. And then some places it's darker and there's some blockage. And those are the places where the work has to be done, right? But knowing that they're there is what gives me the ability to do the work. If I can't honestly look at myself and see places where I can improve, I'm never going to improve. Those relationships will be what they are, and there'll never be an opportunity. I can't control the outcome. They may not get better anyway, but I can do better. I can do my part. I can show up differently. I can keep cleaning up some stuff, right? I can't control the outcome, but I can control how I show up and my energy and what I pour in to those situations. And that's the place where I am in my life. There's one situation in particular that's just glaring for my attention, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to deal with it. It's gonna be painful. I've pushed it off for as long as I could, and God is just holding me right there. Say, girl, baby girl, it's time. It's time for you to deal with it. It's time for you to face it head on. It's time for you to free yourself from this situation. Because trust me when I tell you, the things that we don't deal with become like weights around our ankles. And the easiest step becomes difficult because you're dragging all of that weight. And as much as I talk about all the things that I talk about, I'm not weightless, guys. I'm not. I have weights around my ankles at times as well. One I've drugged my whole life, and I got to deal with it, even though I don't want to. That's why resilience and flexibility and gratitude and all the things that we talk about are so important, because they continue to work in my life and give me the opportunity to keep getting better, cleaning things up, fortifying some of these relationships, even if it's relationship with self. Because when you find those places in your shadow that are hiding in the shadows, and you're like, man, I thought I had moved past this. Man, I thought I was more mature. I thought I was more faithful. I thought I had this together. You could do that and beat yourself up, or you could lean into gratitude. And I'm so grateful that that's there, because what's in the shadows I can't see. I can absolutely not do anything about it. But once a little light is shining, it just takes a little light, just enough for you to realize that it's there. Now a whole new world of opportunities opens up. You have the chance to do the work, to clean the things up, to do what's necessary to move forward, right? I don't want to keep dragging that weight. I want the relationship to be better, right? But if it's not enough for me to want it, I've got to get some action behind that want so that the opportunity for change is actually there. So Kim says, so true. I am weighted for sure. So if you know you're weighted, like I do, you know what's the weight is. What do we do about it, right? What systems can we put in place to help us start to free ourselves so that we can move with ease towards our goals instead of dragging towards them because that weight keeps holding us back, making every step more difficult, right? Those are the things that we have to ask ourselves and to get really, really clear about. So we've been talking about systems and using gratitude. We've been talking about a lot of stuff today because your girl was just all over the place. I'm sorry, but I go where the spirit leads, and Barbara was the catalyst today to let that got me going all over the place. But I do have a few actionable steps. And Kim, whatever it is that you're talking about, this weight, and not just for Kim, for me, for all of us, think about what that weight is. And I think the steps that we have for today will really help you in that space. So we want to start by identifying one major obstacle that you faced recently and brainstorm how, if you had a better system, it could have helped you move through that obstacle better. So that was the thought I had last night. But since we're talking about that weight, let's take the same action and apply it to that. Think about the weight that's on your chest or around your ankles that's pushing you down, holding you back. Whatever that weight is, what system can you have in place to help you relieve yourself of that weight? Got to identify it first. What is it? You got to call it by its name. What is it? You got to talk to that thing. And you got to say, I release you. I forgive you. I'm no longer going to drag this negative emotion with me. But there's a gift. I'm going to dig through it. And I'm going to find the gift even in this weight. And I'm going to take that lesson with me. Easier moving than I was because I've left this weight in today. Today's Thursday. Thursday should have a weight that stays there. It doesn't find its way into Friday, Saturday, next week. You're leaving it here today by choice. What is it? Name it and decide for yourself that you're dropping that thing once and for all. And the only thing you're going to take from it with you forward is the lesson. So you don't end up with a similar weight, so you don't go down the same path, so you don't make a similar mistake. You've learned from this, so it should make you make better decisions going forward. So identify one major obstacle you've recently faced and brainstorm how a better system could help you. Then you want to develop a contingency plan for one potential challenge. So what's the contingency plan? What can you do to keep you moving forward if this thing was to show up again, right? And then you want to practice a gratitude exercise by listing 3 things you're grateful for. Do it every day. And since you're focused on that weight right now, what are 3 things that you know that you've learned that can help you move forward? Because you've experienced that weight. Looking at it from the lens of gratitude is going to give you a different perspective and help it not even weigh as much. Even before it's gone, it's not as heavy. And then you want to reflect on how gratitude has helped you overcome past challenges and apply those lessons to the systems that you're building right now. Okay? So that's our homework for me, for you, for anyone who chooses to accept it. Whatever that weight is, name it, and let's start thinking about a system that we can build that's going to get rid of it. Have a contingency plan so that the things in your system, when they're not working, you've got another way of accomplishing that thing. Apply gratitude to it. What has this weight taught you? What has it given you that you otherwise would not have had if you hadn't gone through that experience? And then reflect on how gratitude has gotten you through other obstacles and what it's done for you. Then apply it to this situation. All right. So those were the actionable steps for today. Kim says it gets overwhelming, but yes, I keep telling myself that. Absolutely. And Lisa says, loving the action steps today. Great. I'm glad they're resonating, Lisa. I really am. And Kim, talk to Conchita after this about overwhelm. That's a word she no longer uses. So let's hear from Conchita in our group text. When you feel that angst, what do you say to yourself in place of overwhelm, right? Because if I'm overwhelmed, the emotions of it all are in control. I've given in to that. And I know Conchita was just talking to me recently about how taking the word overwhelm out of her vocabulary has changed a lot for her and has made it a little bit easier to deal with situations. So, Conchita, I'd love for you to share. Maybe you can make a comment later so that other folks can understand that. But when we share our experiences, it makes this so much richer, and it'll also drive it home for somebody. That you may say it in a way that's a little bit differently than what I've said, that makes it more relatable for someone else. So please share, Conchita. Kim says, need me some Conchita. Absolutely. It's always good to have a little Conchita in your life. All right, guys, we have gone an hour and 15 minutes and counting. I'm so grateful for you guys for hanging in. I need to get to the day job and earn my keep. But I am so grateful. I am so very grateful for each one of you showing up. I am grateful for God answering my prayer. He actually answered it right here, right now in the moment. And he did exactly what I asked him to do because my brain kind of drifted away. And the words that were coming out of my mouth prayerfully were exactly what you needed for your situation. I know it's what I needed. And so I am very grateful for that. So we are about to call it a day. Brian, I'll give you an opportunity to final thoughts or share. Oops, let me mute.
No, you good. I was just gonna invite everybody to join the next challenge. And if they haven't already, to become a part of the community. You know, I'm always thinking about better. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with thinking about better. That's the way to get there.
Well, go ahead and tell them how to do that since our mics are dueling. I'm going to mute and you can tell them how to join the community or the challenge.
So the challenge, if anyone is interested in soaring above it all, go to iwanttosoar.com. And for everyone that has already participated in the challenge, they want to keep the momentum going. They want to have these conversations, not just the morning, but throughout the week. Join soarnow.com. Or is it joinsoar.com?
Joinsoarnow.today.
See, I was completely off. Sorry.
Yep. Joinsoarnow.today or what's the challenge?
The challenge is iwanttosoar.com.
That's what I thought. Yeah. iwanttosoar.com. Go to iwanttosoar.com and you can get the details about the next SOAR challenge. And if you want to join the community, it is joinsoarnow.today. And if you don't remember those, you guys are all connected to me on some form of social or another. Just drop me a message and I will send you the links. All right. So I appreciate you guys so much for hanging in. We are going to call it a day and we will be back here tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. Central for Focus Friday. The week is already wrapping up, which blows my mind. So join us back here tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. for Focus Friday. And until then, go and have a wonderful day on purpose. The life that you desire is out there for you to have. Go get it. Go get it. It's yours for the taking. Have a great Thursday, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow.